Let me now bring on board Mr. Ganesh Iyer, Chief Executive Officer with Mphasis, joins us live from Bangalore. Ganesh, morning. Thank you for joining us. Ganesh, let's start with a word on how do you see the near-term environment for the IT industry and then for Mphasis?
Clearly, the pattern is slightly different from what we have experienced before. The bad news that comes in economy from Europe and all that is making people nervous. But I don't see any significant downtrend in demand, except the demand is slightly different. We believe that the new business models will emerge. Hyper-specialization will be key. So that's what I see moving forward. In US, demand is still holding. Europe is a bit wavered, if I may. So that's how I see IT services demand. I don't see a significant downtrend, if I may.
Ganesh, hi, good morning. We've heard what, Bellwether Mphasis had to say in terms of the, macro environment currently that they're having to face and deal with. Is it mostly discretionary spend which is under pressure, or are there some delays in the run-of-the-mill businesses too? I mean, can you hope to grow in high single digits in FY12?
The discretionary budget is obviously under a bit of pressure, but at the same time I see a changing pattern, if I may, in the marketplace. There is significant opportunity for people to go and win some deals. That's how I see it in my pipeline, and that requires you to be highly specialized. And as an industry, we need to focus more on being a trusted advisor to the business side, rather than just providing generic services. And that is a transformation that the entire industry has to go through, and which is what we started on as Mphasis 15 months ago. So I clearly see that hyper-specialization is key, and business models, different kind of business models which require you to take a bit of risk, share the risk with the customer would be key. But I don't see a pattern where, we need to panic and say the world is coming to an end kind of approach. I see a bit of strong demand in US and weak demand in Europe.
So would you be able to post a high single digit in FY12 in terms of growth?
Well, that's asking me to do forward guidance. What we are focused on is growth of our direct business. Last year we grew 22%. So clearly the momentum is on our side, so we are clearly focused on that. We also invested in growing our business outside enterprise services with HP. I see good demand there. Our infrastructure services grew handsomely in India. I see good demand there. So I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about the potential in these three areas, and excited with the fact that we made this investment 15 months ago and started on this journey.
Ganesh, there have been some concerns, or rather talks, that you have been facing issues with some of your clients like General Motors, Shell, and we all know about HP. Could you throw some light on that?
No, I haven't seen anything which tells me that we have concerns. In fact, if at all, our customer satisfaction rating is up. And when the demand pattern is changing, customer satisfaction is the most important thing to have. It's the biggest asset you could have. On enterprise services last year, when we posted our results, we saw that our business had declined, and that is clearly an area that we need to work on as Mphasis, rather than talking about enterprise services, to see that can we change our value proposition to enterprise services. That is obviously an area of concern for me, and we are working on it, and that is an area of concern. But I don't see any issue with regards to customer satisfaction, and I haven't seen anything about General Motors or Shell, which you have mentioned. So nothing of that sort.
What about the HP business? Do you think that will remain sluggish, or this year HP, or the feelers which you're getting from HP is that they will outsource more from Mphasis?
Well, HP business I want to divide into two parts. One part is enterprise services, where we used to get almost our entire business. And last year, as I mentioned, that saw a decline. We made an investment to grow our business with HP in other areas, and we are seeing significant demand in those areas. I believe that we will see accelerated growth in those areas. So, if I may, I can't view HP as one. HP, from our standpoint, we are viewing it as enterprise services and rest of HP. And rest of HP, I see clearly good demand.
But what about, the pricing side of the business, Ganesh? Because there seems to be, or rather there are talks of some pressure from HP and other clients in reducing the billing rates.
Well, I mean, at one stage, the entire industry was fairly confident that we could go for a price increase. But after what has happened in the economy, customers are nervous about the future because the confidence level is a bit fragile across the world. So hence, I don't see the kind of bullishness that people had in terms of price increase. I do believe there will be requests coming for price reduction, and I'm not just referring to HP, but across the market. And we need to evaluate it based on what's the upside that it can bring to us. And that's how we are evaluating, and we will work with the customers, because at this point of time, what is most important is to focus on customer success, and flexibility is key. And that's what we pride ourselves as a mid-sized company. Customer intimacy, flexibility, intensity, and that's what we are going to focus on. And if that means that I have to give some price reduction to gain more volume from some of the customers, I will do so in the interest of our shareholders.
Ganesh, US presidential elections are due later this year, and US President Barack Obama has already coined a new term. It's not anti-outsourcing but insourcing. Will that impact your business?
Well, as I said, I think all the administrators and politicians do what they have to do, and business people do what they have to do. So at the end of the day, the value proposition that the entire industry is offering as offshoring industry is far greater than what people believe. So we will also evolve as an industry, and Mphasis will evolve as a company. We will adapt to the situation. So it's not as if, we are standing still. So if insourcing is there, people would look at nearshoring. At the same time, the value that we are delivering today, I fundamentally believe that a significant shift of business away from offshoring is an unlikely event.
So how many visa approvals do you have in place for this year?
We have enough visa approvals to support our business. I don't see that as a problem. And if that becomes a problem, we will find alternate legal means to do that. So at this point of time, that's not a burning platform for Mphasis.
Do you think it is difficult to replace Indian skilled labor with American labor? I mean, what I'm trying to understand from you is that apart from cost arbitrage, is there a skill arbitrage?
So first of all, if you take a customer's viewpoint, it's not as if a customer has the luxury of suddenly increasing their IT cost and going through the transition and incurring the cost of double bubble. So let's keep that in the center of everything. So they are looking for generating more value for their customers at a lower cost. And that's where offshoring has kicked in. And we as Mphasis are doing hyper-specialization. So we are also focused on how can we enhance their value proposition to their clients. So that being the case, I don't believe that offshoring needs to be viewed in a traditional sense that this is all about labor arbitrage and talent and skill set is the only way we can move forward. Obviously, there are opportunities for nations to move up the value chain and position their skill set, and so would offshore industry. So I don't see this as a major shift because of presidential election. At least I don't subscribe to that school of thought.
Ganesh, you've been targeting an EBIT margin of 15 to 18% for the full year. Would the margin up move be mostly back-ended? I mean, unlike other IT companies, your benefit from the rupee depreciation will be limited because you've hedged, what, 70% of your cash flow?
That's right. So, but on the hedge front, you are right. And on back-ended, no business can afford to suddenly have fourth quarter showing up profit improvement and making up for the year. So we have planned our work in such a way that we will grow towards our objective.
So how much of your total revenue is...
So it won't be back-ended.
You're right. So how much of your total revenue currently is hedged, and how much of your total revenue, projected revenue, is not hedged?
So, we have a consistent hedging policies. So what we do is we hedge 12 months forecasted revenue, which is 70%. 12 to 18 months is 40, and 18 to 24 is 20. So that's the policy which we have been following for the last 3 years, and we are not going to change the policy just because of the currency movement that we have seen in the last 3 months.
So in between, if I want to read in between lines, because rupee has depreciated against the dollar by 20% last year and about 9% for the quarter gone by, the upside for Mphasis will be capped?
It would be fairly limited because at the end of the day, our business is delivering IT services and delivering superior results. Our business is not doing currency trade. Hence, we hedge for the sake of ensuring that there is stability and focus on our revenue. Hence, the upside due to rupee depreciation is fairly limited for Mphasis.
Every time you've been on this forum, we've had this conversation, and I've got the reply, and I'm sure I will get the same reply this time. You're sitting on cash. When will you utilize it? You're not giving a dividend, you're not acquiring everything. Every time I meet you, we interact with you, you said, wait, we'll announce something. When will that announcement come?
So first of all, if you really look at our dividend that we announced based on for 2011, it is 65% more than what we had announced the year before. Secondly, the cash that we are sitting, we have one of the most aggressive IT company in utilization of cash. And stay tuned. It's not as if we are sitting on it and we are letting it grow. We are looking at a good means of using it. So actually, essentially, it's the same answer. I'm using different words, so at least you'll get a different flavor every time.